Again, one of those tutorials that started out as a question, this time by our dear friend Patrick, asking how we'd pull off something like this here in this really beautiful spot 4 malachy called molasses. And here we have this really viscous paint being smeared and painted around in close-ups. So after a bit of fiddling around, I decided to settle on flip to simulate those really viscous fluids being moved around. And in this tutorial, I just want to go over the basic settings I used to get the overall look kind of right. In this case, our simulation will consist, broadly speaking, of 3 elements. An emitter, emitting fluid into our scene, a collider, working as the brush to move this fluid around, and a dot net, simulating the whole setup. So let's build this step by step by dropping down a geonode in Houdini, then diving in there, and for our source, that means for our fluid emitter, I'm gonna just be lazy and use a sphere. I want to set my sphere to be a polygonal mesh and want to increase its rows and columns quite a bit to 48 and 96 respectively, resulting in this high-res sphere here. Then I want to increase its overall scale to 2.5 and its radius along the y-axis to 1, so stretch this a bit and then move this up to, I think, 2.6 is what I settled on. And those values I dial in here I figured out by just lots of trial and error, and that's the beauty of working with simulations, so patience and figuring out values, which in this case I prepared for you. Now to use this sphere as a fluid emitter, as a flip emitter, I'm going to attach a flip source, which will generate the necessary data. And in here there are 2 main settings which I want to dial in later and which I want to link later to my overall simulation resolution, which are the voxel size and the particle separation. However, for now, the only thing I want to dial in here is the jitter seed, so that when animating, my particles are jittered and not static, just using an expression here, $FF, so the jitter seed is equal to my frame number. Also in here I want to oversample this to give a bit denser particle distribution, and I just want to slightly oversample this by 1.5 units. So far so good. Just want to attach a null to this, call this one out_source, like so, and that's it for the emitter. So when I middle mouse on this, you can see we're generating a volume called surface and a bunch of particles, which are in the point group particles. Next, let's work on that brush. And for the brush, I'm damn lazy and I'm just going to use a box. Let's set the visibility flag on it here and rescale it a bit. So first, I want to make this a bit flatter and broader, and then move this up a bit to 1.4 units. Also, I want to give this substantially more divisions, so I have more polygons and more individual points to work on here. I think I settled on 160, 72, and 8 divisions, resulting in this finely subdivided mesh here. The reason
I'm fucking dying.